Sakura was unhappy with Naruto, and her unhappiness attracted a powerful being. In exchange for Sakura's regrets, this powerful being would grant her a wish, and Sakura has no idea what that wish would cost until it is too late. This is TH Stories 80, and now let us dive into chapter 1 of Regrets.
Stupid baka! Sakura fumed, her hands clenched into fists as she stormed down the path toward her home from the Team 7 training ground. Behind her, Naruto was just getting back on his feet, rubbing the bump on his head after taking one of her punches. He had made numerous requests for a date in the span of 2 minutes, all after Kakashi had left and Sasuke had simply gone, huh, before walking off in the opposite direction. Sakura had said no every single time. To her, the worst part was that Naruto had the audacity to keep asking right in front of her Sasuke-kun. She swore there was steam coming out of her ears as she stomped under the bright morning sun and the clear blue sky. Wisps of cloud drifted overhead as Sakura mentally prepared herself for the D-rank mission the team would begin 2 hours later. After returning from the land of waves a week ago, D-rank missions felt like a relief. D-ranks would be better, she thought. At least for now. That last battle was something else. She genuinely feared that Sasuke might die on that mission. Thankfully, he had survived and recovered quickly. As for Naruto, she didn't think much of him. She believed it was Sasuke who must have taken down Haku through one of his ice mirrors, not Naruto. Thinking about the raven-haired Uchiha calmed her somewhat. Her fists relaxed, and the rage melted off her face as she stared at the dirt path beneath her feet. Birds chirped above, and a gentle warm breeze brushed past. Then, Sakura-chan! Her scowl returned instantly. She missed the amused smirk on the face of an old lady sitting on a nearby bench as she turned to see Naruto jogging toward her, still rubbing the back of his head. Sakura-chan! Naruto stopped beside her and offered a sheepish smile. Can I at least walk you home? No. Sakura shook her head, waving her hands in refusal. No. I'm not asking you for a date. He scratched his cheek and chuckled nervously. I just like you, Sakura-chan. I'd rather... We're teammates. Sakura interrupted sharply, scanning the street in case Sasuke was anywhere nearby. She didn't want him getting the wrong idea. That's all we'll ever be, Naruto, nothing else. But get this through your thick skull, Sakura snapped. Naruto blinked, caught off guard by the sharpness in her tone. Seeing the surprise in his expression only made her want to double down. Despite her inner voice urging her to calm down, Sakura powered through. I do not like you. Got that? She jabbed a finger at his chest. While we're on missions, I'll be professional. And that's it. I don't want anything personal between us. You don't mean that, Sakura-chan. And stop calling me Chan, she shouted, panting now as she glared at him. Naruto stepped back, hurt written plainly across his face. It's Sakura-san. That's all I'll ever be to you. She drew in a deep breath and rubbed her forehead. I can't be what you want me to be. Just go home, Naruto. We've got a mission later. Yeah, Naruto whispered, his voice soft and full of hurt. He looked back up at her, eyes shining with distress. For a moment, something cracked inside her. A part of her wanted to apologize, to tell him she was just having a bad day, that she didn't mean it. But she didn't. She ignored that voice. Naruto hunched his shoulders, shoved his hands into his pockets, and turned away. I hope Sasuke Teme treats you right, Debayo, he muttered before walking off. Sakura watched him go, then turned around, only to come face to face with an elderly woman seated on a bench just inches away. She had faded blue hair, sunken blue eyes, a silver necklace with a dull red stone and a crooked grin missing 3 teeth. The rest of her teeth were brown, some black, all twisted. Sorry, Sakura mumbled, attempting to step around the old woman. I came to this world because you called, child. The woman giggled, staring directly at her. Sakura froze. Such fire, such anger and hate. Sorry, ma'am, Sakura said uneasily, a chill sliding down her spine. I should be going. I have. You called to me, child. Your deep seated rage, your hate, it is like a beacon. The woman interrupted, her eyes flicking briefly toward Naruto's retreating figure before settling back on Sakura. Don't be so confused, Haruno Sakura. Okay, this is weird, Sakura began. I'll grant you one wish, Sakura-san, the crone said before Sakura could move. The girl turned and stared. I'm interested in what you have to give me, and in return I will offer you one single wish. Sakura let out a nervous chuckle and took a step back. Right. Ma'am, you might want to check in with the Konoha hospital. You hate the Uzumaki boy, the crone said flatly. I don't hate him, Sakura snapped, stepping forward. I just don't want him pestering me all the time. I don't want dates, walks, or ramen with him. I just want peace. That doesn't mean I hate. But it does, the crone said, smile fading as she gripped her walking stick tightly. I can see into your heart, Haruno Sakura. I see the hate you harbor for him. I see the rage. Such unbridled rage. This is crazy. You don't trust him. You don't want him on your team. You wish he'd quit, so he'd stop getting in the way of your affection for the Uchiha boy. Sakura's fists tightened again. But I can help you with that. You want the Uchiha? You get the Uchiha. You want Uzumaki Naruto out of the way? I can make it happen. I have to go, Sakura said, turning away. I'm really here to help you, child, the woman called after her. I felt your powerful emotions across time and space, through the veils of dimensions. Sakura turned back, her expression twisted in disbelief. Before she could speak, the crone pressed a hand to her chest. Feel it. And Sakura did. An overwhelming wave of hatred for Naruto rose within her. The emotion crushed her chest and clouded her thoughts. Rage, pure and bitter, consumed her. Then it was gone. The crone lowered her hand. Sakura dropped to one knee, gasping, her forehead slick with sweat and her hair hiding her eyes. See? Such anger, such hate. It can't be, she panted. Naruto's annoying, but that doesn't mean... I can get him out of your way, child. The crone cupped Sakura's cheek. Didn't you just tell him not to bother you again? I just wish it, the woman whispered. I can make it come true. What are you? Sakura asked, shaking her head. Just a higher being that helps women get what they want, she said with a grin. My name isn't important, but I've helped many across the multiverse. You're the one I chose. Why? Because your rage will give me the greatest payoff in this universe. She smirked. My service isn't free though. I want something in return. What? Your regret. My regret. I'll show you what was, what could have been, across this universe and others, and I'll give you Sasuke, all for one measly thing, your regret. But you don't want Naruto near you. You said it yourself. What do you have to lose? Will Naruto be hurt? Do you wish him harm? Is that one of my wishes? Just a question. The crone smirked. I don't want... If you wish him harm, he'll be harmed. Depends on your wish. Sakura rose to her feet. Her instincts screamed that this was wrong, that this woman couldn't be real. Maybe she was mentally ill and escaped from the hospital. Maybe this is just a joke, she told herself. If she's crazy, nothing will happen anyway. Despite every alarm bell going off in her head, Sakura opened her mouth. Fine, she said. I'm guessing it's fake. It's very real, the crone said coldly. Once you make the wish, it can't be undone. Sakura hesitated, looking into the woman's glowing blue eyes. I I wish Naruto would leave me alone, she said slowly, so he can't get between me and Sasuke. Done. The crone's hand slammed into Sakura's chest. Her eyes glowed and the world dissolved. Sakura felt something being ripped out of her. The crone was vanishing, growing younger as Sakura was overwhelmed by light. Somewhere distant, she heard Naruto cry out, "Sakura-chan!" Then a woman screamed. Sakura opened her eyes. She was in an enclosed space, a door to her left. Confused, she turned toward the scream and saw a red-haired woman lying on a pedestal, her belly massive with late pregnancy. Two other women stood between her legs. The woman screamed again. "Push, Kushina!" The masked woman with grey hair exclaimed. Kushina screamed again, throwing her head back. That's when Sakura noticed the blond man beside her, his hands pressed against her stomach, a section that had turned completely black, with strange symbols branching outward across her body. Sakura stared, wide-eyed in shock, unsure where she was, how she had arrived here, or who the people around her were. "Hello?" Sakura called out, but the people in front of her didn't react. "They cannot see you, nor can they hear you," said a disembodied voice. It was familiar, vibrant and alive. Sakura recognized it as the voice of the crone, though younger. "I told you, once you made the wish, you'd see everything that was, that would be, and that could be, across time. Now watch, and I will take the price we agreed upon, your everlasting regret." "Wait, Sakura started, but stopped when Kushina cried out a name in pain. "Naruto, get out!" "Naruto?" Sakura whispered, staring at the woman. "Kyuubi, stay inside!" the man yelled. Sakura's eyes darted to him. He seemed so familiar, but it was the mention of the Kyuubi that seized her attention. She looked back at Kushina. "The Kyuubi," Sakura whispered. Everyone knew the story, how it attacked the village 12 years ago, the death it brought, and how the fourth Hokage had sacrificed himself to stop it. That's when it clicked. "Yondaime," she breathed, eyes widening. Then she looked at Kushina. "And the Kyuubi? The Kyuubi took on a human. The Kyuubi took on a female form and named itself Kushina?" she muttered, confused. "Wait, what?" Before she could make sense of it, Kushina screamed again, and this time it was joined by the cries of a baby. Sakura held her breath as the Yondaime's jaw dropped. His shoulders relaxed in stunned disbelief. "You did it," he whispered as Sakura stepped closer to Kushina. Tears streamed down the woman's face as the Yondaime spoke again, joy in his voice. "I'm a father."
One of the masked women wrapped the baby in a white towel. The Yondaime reached out, but the gray-haired woman scolded him gently, saying the first face the baby should see was his mother's. Sakura smiled faintly at the exchange, stepping back to watch the baby being presented to a panting Kushina while still in the arms of the gray-haired woman. The boy was quiet now, eyes locked with his mother's. The two women then took baby Naruto to a table on the other side of the room to clean him up. "You're the son of the Yondaime," Sakura whispered. "Did you ever know, Naruto? Did you ever know?" The joy was short-lived. Moments later, thudding sounds behind her drew Sakura's attention. The masked attendants collapsed, lifeless. The baby was now in the arms of another masked man. A kunai pressed to the child's throat. "Naruto!" Sakura gasped, helpless. "Yondaime Minato," the masked intruder growled, his voice sending chills through Sakura. Step away from the Jinchuriki or the baby dies. Jinchuriki? Sakura thought. Her eyes darted between Kushina, her seal, and Minato. Before she could think further, everything descended into chaos. Sakura witnessed the horror unfold. She saw Naruto nearly die. She saw Kushina kidnapped, the Kyuubi extracted from her. She felt like she was everywhere at once, watching the terrified villagers, watching Minato battle the masked man, watching the destruction of Konoha. She watched Iruka's parents die. She watched Kakashi and others forced into hiding. She was the only one who knew what really happened that night. The tragedy climaxed in a scene she would never forget. Minato, bloodied, weakened, speaking to his dying wife about sealing the Kyuubi. Half would go into himself, his soul locked in eternal battle within the Shinigami's belly. No, Sakura whispered, her tears flowing freely. The other half will go into Naruto, Minato said. Kushina begged him not to do it, knowing how Jinchuriki were hated. But Minato insisted. It was necessary. He believed in their son. He believed Naruto was the child of prophecy, the one who would stop the masked man and change the shinobi world. How can you be sure? Both Kushina and Sakura asked in unison. Because he's our son, Minato replied, smiling faintly. Because every parent has faith, their children will surpass them. Sakura's heart broke as Minato prepared the sealing. Kushina, weakened and bleeding, held the Kyuubi at bay with her chakra chains. Sakura, now kneeling, watched in horror as Minato placed the infant Naruto on the ritual pedestal. Suddenly, the Kyuubi lunged, its claw aimed directly at Naruto. No! Sakura screamed. Kushina and Minato moved at the same time, shielding their son with their bodies. The claw impaled them both. Sakura ran toward them. She listened as Kushina, dying, gave Naruto her final message. Eat well, keep clean, study hard. Beware of shinobi vices, make true friends, and find a girl just like her. Minato, with his last breath, sealed the Kyuubi into Naruto, a triagram seal. It was over. The Kyuubi, screaming in rage, vanished inside the baby. Minato collapsed. Kushina was fading. The Sandaime arrived with his guards. Sakura watched it all, sobbing. His name is Naruto, Sandaime, Kushina whispered. Protect him. Make sure the people know he's a hero. Kushina, the Sandaime whispered as the redhead took her last breath. Sakura was crying as she watched Naruto start to wail while the Sandaime held him close. She watched as the Sandaime hid Naruto's lineage, his Namikaze name, so that the baby would be protected from the Yondaime's enemies. The Sandaime told the village advisors that Minato chose another baby since his and Kushina's child died during a difficult birth, and that the baby would be given the family name of Uzumaki to protect the family who had to sacrifice their baby. But it was a lie. Sakura watched as the advisors said that the baby needed to be put into an orphanage. She was shaking her head at the cruelty of what she was seeing as the advisors said that even the Sandaime couldn't adopt the child since it would be showing favoritism to its own clan. Any clan selected would also feel the wrath from the other clans at adopting the Kyuubi child, so that was counted out as well. Sakura wanted to kill the council members. As she watched them walk away, she watched as a few seconds later, a young Kakashi rushed into the room. He wanted to know if the rumors were true about the Yondaime dying. Sakura watched as Kakashi begged to adopt Naruto since he was the Yondaime's last legacy. But he was denied since he was still a child himself. However, the Sandaime gave Kakashi several objects to hide, including Naruto's real birth certificate that spelled out the names of his parents very clearly. Those were to be his when he became a Jonin or turned 18. Sakura watched as the Sandaime publicly revealed that Naruto was a hero for being the jailer of the Kyuubi, and she watched as that good intent blew up in his face. The villagers responded with hate. They saw him as the Kyuubi reincarnated, The Sun Daimon then created a law. No one could tell the younger generation what Naruto was. Sakura watched Naruto's entire life, his isolation, his hunger. The children pulled away from him. She saw herself, Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji playing with him, only to be dragged away by their parents. "Forgive me," she whispered. She watched Naruto's journey, fighting Haku, the Chunin exams, Sasuke's defection, herself begging Naruto to bring Sasuke back to Konoha, Naruto making the promise of a lifetime. She watched the heartbreaking battle at the Valley of the End, Sasuke nearly killing Naruto, Sasuke backing off after Naruto was unconscious and then walking away. She watched Naruto in the hospital, reassuring her that he would bring Sasuke back. She then became Tsunade's apprentice. She could see everything that happened to Naruto. There was their training, their growth, their bond after Naruto returned to Konoha. She saw herself confess fake love, only for Naruto to reject it. She saw their real talk later, how their friendship endured, their friendship deepened. She watched Naruto fight alongside her in the Fourth Great Shinobi War. She saw death, hope, truth. Then she saw branching futures. Sakura with Sasuke, with children, and others where she married Naruto. In all of them she seemed happy, but the warmth she felt watching herself with Naruto left her deeply confused. Suddenly she was back, frozen in time, staring at Obito holding baby Naruto. "How was it?" asked a blue-eyed woman in a red dress, a glowing pendant on her neck. She took a bite from a swirling ball of red and blue energy in her hand. Sakura realized it was the crone, now young. "Well?" the clone asked. "How was traveling through the tapestry of Uzumaki Naruto's life?" "I want to retract my wish," Sakura said, fists clenched. The woman laughed. "I told you what would happen. You made the wish." "I thought it was a joke." "What changed your mind? That he's the Yondame's son? That's so shallow." "No," Sakura shouted. "I know what he's been through now. I know that not good enough." The woman snapped with a twisted grin. "I want to go back. I want to apologize. I want to—" "You can't," the woman said coldly. "I've everything I want. Your regret is delicious." Suddenly the figures around them began to move again, but something was wrong. There were no cries, just a gasp. Sakura turned, only to scream in horror. A kunai was lodged in Naruto's tiny chest. He was dead. "Naruto!" Kushina, Minato, and Sakura cried out together. "You swore he wouldn't be harmed," Sakura screamed at the woman. "He didn't feel a thing," the crone replied casually. Obito removed his mask. "Obito!" Minato gasped. "Why?" "Because you weren't there to save her." Obito roared. "You let Rin die. I'll make you suffer too." Before the shock Minato could move, a kunai was rammed into his chest. Then again and again. Kushina screamed. Sakura screamed. The crone laughed and took another bite of the growing regret ball in her hand. "I'll do anything," Sakura begged. "Please, stop this." "I have what I want," the woman said, fading. "Your regret will feed me for a long, long time. Goodbye, Haruno Sakura." Obito released the seal on Kushina's belly. "Come on out, Kyuubi," he yelled. "No!" Sakura screamed. Everything around her flashed white. 12 years later, Uzushiogakure. "Sakura-chan!" The aforementioned Haruno Sakura smiled upon hearing the familiar female voice calling her name. She lay on a grassy hilltop with the bright blue sea glistening in the distance. The sounds of natural whirlpools echoed faintly, while waves gently crashed against a long stretch of beach nearby. With her head resting on the grass, Sakura pointed at the wisps of clouds floating overhead. "Ramen," she chuckled, spotting a cloud shaped like a giant bowl with strands of vapor that resembled noodles. Another cloud drifted by, shaped like a horse. Then came one like a pig. She could have sworn the next one looked like a shuriken. As the voice calling her name drew nearer, Sakura closed her eyes and breathed in and out, slowly and rhythmically. She wasn't angry at being called. It was her sensei after all, the woman who had saved her life. But she was tired, tired of carrying the burden of being the one who might be able to end a war that had already taken over millions of lives in just 3 years. I was too young to remember how it all began in Konoha, she thought, watching the cloud shift. Her black shirt and trousers were torn in several places after her most recent attempt at the jutsu, one originally developed by the Nidaime Hokage and later improved by the Yondaime Hokage, her sensei's late husband. Uzumaki Kushina, her sensei and savior, had been a mother figure ever since Sakura lost her parents when the Kyuubi utterly destroyed Konoha. At 5 years old, Sakura began training to become a shinobi, inspired by her uncles Kakashi and Gai. It was Kushina who later told Sakura that she might one day be instrumental in winning the war that she knew was coming. And sure enough, 3 years ago, the Fourth Great Shinobi War was declared by Uchiha Obito after he gained control of 8 of the 9 tailed beasts. Sakura knew the story well. Kushina had once been the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. She had witnessed the deaths of both her baby and her husband at the hands of a boy she had once loved like a younger brother, Obito, who had returned from the dead, consumed by grief and hatred, and destroyed everything he once cherished. Sakura had heard many stories about Konoha, its people, its landmarks, and the will of fire. Oh, how she wished she could have seen the great stone faces on the Hokage monument. But those were now just rubble, destroyed in the Kyuubi's rampage. She remembered the way Kushina told the story of how she returned to the village that fateful night. Weakened and wounded, Kushina found herself limping through the ruins. The screams of the injured filled the air, the smell of blood and death heavy around her. She stumbled upon the corpses of Uchiha Mikoto and several members of the Uchiha clan. Mikoto's husband was among the dead. It was then that Kushina was reunited with the slightly injured Kakashi, who was bleeding from the eye socket that once held the Sharingan, Obito's Sharingan. He was there along with Kurenai, Asuma, and several Genin and Junior Chunin who had survived thanks to a barrier jutsu that protected their location from the Kyuubi's initial attack. The jutsu eventually failed when debris from the destruction shattered the trees holding the seals. Once free, the group returned to the village and found only devastation. That's when they found Kushina. She immediately took charge, ordering a search for survivors. Sakura had also heard how she herself was found, just a baby then, crying close to her lifeless mother, Haruno Mebuki. Her father lay nearby, pale and impaled by a metal pipe. Mebuki, a former classmate of Kushina's, had been partially crushed by flying debris. Kushina had found Sakura wailing in the wreckage, and though she lost her own child that same night, she vowed not to let another baby die. She took Sakura in, fed her, and cared for her as her own. Out of a population of over 74,000, only 5,000 survived the attack. Of those, only 75 were uninjured full-time shinobi. With Konoha gone, Kushina made a bold decision. They would journey to the ruins of Uzushiogakure, the village hidden in the whirlpools, the former home of the Uzumaki clan. It was in Uzu that Sakura and the other surviving children grew up. The adults slowly rebuilt the village while Sakura and the children trained under Kakashi, Asuma, and others. It was also at Uzu that Kushina discovered that Sakura had unusually low chakra reserves, but remarkably fine chakra control. She was stunned when, a little after starting to train at 5 years old, Sakura instinctively walked up trees and on water without instruction. IQ tests administered by Kushina revealed that Sakura was highly intelligent, though Kushina knew that academic prowess didn't always translate into skill on the battlefield. Sakura had no clan, no Kekkei Genkai, and no signature jutsu, but Kushina could see that she had an unshakable drive to improve the moment she learned what ninjutsu was. Though already her de facto mother, Kushina formally took Sakura on as her apprentice. During the day, Sakura trained and studied with fellow survivors Hinata, Choji, Kiba, and others. At night, she received rigorous one-on-one training from Kushina herself. By the time she was 9, Sakura had expanded her chakra reserves significantly and was already proficient in taijutsu thanks to Gai, Kakashi, and Kushina. With guidance from the recently returned Senju Tsunade, Sakura was able to combine her precise chakra control with taijutsu in creative ways. She also learned ninjutsu techniques aligned with her earth and water nature affinities and was preparing to begin genjutsu training under Kakashi and Kurenai. 2 years ago, it was when she was 10 years old that Kushina, the wife of the late Yondami Hokage and Konoha's Yellow Flash, presented the pink-haired girl with a certain keepsake. "Sensei," Sakura had said, wonder in her voice, looking down at the three-pronged kunai in her hands. She was on her knees in front of Kushina, staring at the silver weapon before glancing up into the red-haired woman's violet eyes. "This is one of Minato's Hiraishin markers," Kushina confirmed, her gaze lingering on the kunai before meeting Sakura's eyes. "The war is coming here, Sakura. We've already taken in refugees from Kiri and Kumo, as well as some from the smaller villages in the lands of fire, lightning, and wind." All of them spoke of the same thing, beings calling themselves White Zetsu. They can absorb chakra from both shinobi and civilians, and definitely destroy towns and hidden villages. The frightening part is, they can literally become the people they absorb and infiltrate other villages. The destruction they can cause, or rather have caused, is immense. But the seals surrounding Uzu should be able to discern flesh and blood from these white Zetsu, right? Sakura asked. "We've already killed 40 Zetsu when they tried to come through the barrier seals," Kushina confirmed. "We're safe, for now, but according to Jiraiya, the greatest threat is still Obito. If we can remove his control over the tail beasts, then they can help us destroy both him and the Zetsu." "But the tail beasts are monsters," Sakura said hesitantly. "I've been thinking a lot about that," Kushina sighed, turning her gaze out the window toward the deep blue sea. "When Uchiha Madara first took control of the Kyuubi and used it against the Shodai Hokage, he usurped the will of the beast." "A Sharingan can control the tail beasts," Sakura said, recalling her studies, "and so can someone with Mokuton Jutsu. But the knowledge of that jutsu died with the Shodai. Not even Tsunade-sama, a Senju, can access it. And Yamato-san can use Mokuton, but he's only one man, and no one knows if he can access the more advanced techniques." Kushina nodded and continued. "My ancestor, Uzumaki Nito, became the Kyuubi's first Jinchuriki," she said quietly, then turned to look at Sakura, who remained kneeling before her. "Then I became the human sacrifice meant to keep the beast sealed away." Her voice faltered. Kushina lowered her head, tears threatening to gather as memories of Obito's betrayal resurfaced. She sniffled. Sakura, deeply concerned, gently placed the kunai on the floor beside her and moved forward to wrap Kushina in a comforting hug. "I wish I had met him, you know," Sakura whispered in her ear. "Naruto, I mean. I wish I'd met him. Maybe we could have been good friends." "Me too," Kushina whispered, holding the hug a moment longer before pulling back. She took a deep breath, then continued her earlier thought. "Can you imagine, Sakura? Once you were free to live and move as you pleased, but then you're forced to be controlled against your will and locked away for years, years upon years. How would you feel?" "I'd be angry. I'd hate everyone. I would." Sakura paused, realization dawning. The Kyuubi is supposed to be the most powerful of the tail beasts, and it was locked away for so long against its will. The hate it feels towards Mito-sama, the Uchiha, the Shodai, and you. That hate spilled over onto humanity itself. Its hatred is greater than the other tail beasts because of how powerful it was and how much it suffered. That's why, once Obito is defeated, the tail beasts will be freed, Kushina said. But there's a danger they might turn on humanity. She looked Sakura in the eyes. I intend to make them an offer. Sensei, to give them their freedom, Kushina said, in return for taking me. Sensei, Sakura exclaimed, that's... I could be the last of the former Jinchuriki. I will ask them to help us destroy the White Zetsu army, Kushina continued. In return, I will go with them. If they wish to tear me apart, then so be it. You're talking about I will shoulder their hatred for humanity, Sakura, Kushina said, her voice resolute. I know I am the last Uzumaki. I've already made arrangements for what will happen when I'm gone. Kushina-sensei, you... I've lived through 2 wars, Sakura, she said. I want peace for your generation. That's why I want you to unlock the secrets of the Hiraishin. That was something Minato could do, but I could not. But I believe you can. You're the smartest person I know, and you have the will and drive to see it through. I believe you'll be the key to ending this war. That's also why I'm pulling you from Genjutsu lessons. I'll begin teaching you sealing techniques. Kakashi and Kurenai will continue your training after I'm gone. Please, don't. Sakura's tears began to fall as Kushina reached out, gently cupping her cheeks. You can't talk like that. I lost my parents. I can't lose you too. And you will endure, Kushina said softly. You have the will of fire, as do all the shinobi and civilians who came here from Konoha. Uzu is Konoha's spiritual successor, and I know in my heart that everyone here will defend the village and pass the will of fire to the next generation, and the next, to love, to cherish, and to protect the village. She hugged Sakura again. The younger girl cried silently on the redhead's shoulder. I know you can do this, Sakura, Kushina whispered. I have faith that you'll inspire Hinata, Choji, and the others in the battles ahead, and in the peace we hope to create. All Sakura could do was nod silently. Sakura-chan, where are... Sakura giggled before she pushed herself up on her elbows and then tilted her head back, grinning widely at the sight of the middle-aged redhead approaching. The woman was shaking her head, an excited look on her face as she yelled out, There you are! We lost your chakra signature for a while there, Tabane. It could be an after effect of the space-time jutsu, Sensei, Sakura said as she slowly got to her feet. That was when Kushina noticed the tears in the pink-haired girl's shirt, rips across her abdomen, shoulders, and collar. Even her leggings were torn in various places. There were also cuts on her upper arms and one on her left cheek, still red, but at least not bleeding profusely. Despite her injuries, Sakura grinned. I did it though. Hiraishin without the need for kunai. Well, not really. Using my own chakra as markers is kind of different, and there's a weird feeling to it. Kushina smiled at the girl she had long accepted as the daughter she never had. Gently, she placed her hands on Sakura's shoulders and leaned in to kiss her forehead. You did good, Sakura, Kushina said as she pulled back, meeting her student's eyes. I'm proud of you. Thank you, Sensei. Sakura gave Kushina a bow before standing straight. I still have some work to do though. That you managed to move from the training ground on the other side of the island to here on your first try is amazing, Kushina said. But yeah. Her eyes returned to Sakura's injuries. We'll need to make sure you don't get hurt when entering the space-time tunnel that you travel through. I'll have Kakashi train with you on using the Hiraishin with combat techniques, just like Minato once did. Sakura nodded. Suddenly there was a puff of smoke to their left. Both turned, waving their hands to clear it. In the dissipating cloud stood an orange and blue toad, gazing up at them. Jiraiya Sama's summon. Though I don't know this one's name, Sakura thought, suppressing a shudder. Gods, toads are still disgusting. Kushina-sama, the toad said, turning toward the redhead. Jiraiya sent me ahead with a warning. What warning? Kushina asked. Jiraiya's spy network has collapsed. Just before he sent me, he said he's being chased by the Uchiha traitor's minions. He's not sure if he'll make it to Uzu. No, Sakura breathed in shock. Kushina's eyes widened as well. In the event he doesn't make it, he sent me to warn you. The Uchiha has collected all 9 tail beasts. The toad paused. He is massing his forces, including over 500,000 white Zetsu in what remains of Konoha. That. Kushina shook her head, horror filling her face at the thought of Obito using the ruins of their old home to launch an assault. That bastard. How long? Sakura asked, heart pounding. Obito already sent an advanced force, the ones chasing Jiraiya. They'll be here in a day, at their current pace. They'll try to weaken our defenses, Kushina said, eyes fixed on the distant whirlpools. Then the main force, with all 9 tail beasts, will attack. And Jiraiya still can't tell the difference between human shinobi and Zetsu imposters, the toad added. His final message was for you and the other seal masters to begin preparations for an all-out assault. Kushina nodded slowly. The barrier jutsu will kill those who try to enter, she muttered. But if they come in overwhelming numbers, they can break through, the toad confirmed. Sakura looked down, her mind racing. There wasn't much time left. This was it, do or die, and she had no intention of dying. Not yet. Thankfully, the barrier has prevented Obito from using his space-time teleportation technique, Kushina whispered. That's the only reason we've survived this long. She looked over at Sakura and smiled. Soon we'll have another reason. Sakura's face turned bright red as she laughed nervously and scratched the back of her head. Kushina chuckled and turned back to the toad. Tell Fukusaku-sama that the toads need to try reverse summoning Jiraiya. They've tried, the toad replied, but there's a jutsu preventing any reverse summons. Kushina nodded grimly. How far is Jiraiya from the advanced force? The toad tilted his head, watching Kushina's face. He understood what she was about to ask. Jiraiya had anticipated this too. Kushina's a firecracker. She'll want to send someone to get me back, Jiraiya had chuckled earlier. Tell her it's too risky. She needs to spend what little time we have preparing for war. The toad relayed the final message. He wants no rescue. It's too risky. He said the war will be here by tomorrow, and you all must be prepared. Where is that pervert? Kushina growled. Both Sakura and the toad flinched. They could feel the killing intent. Her eyes looked as though they were literally on fire as she reached down and picked up the toad, whose legs flailed in panic. Talk. Northwest, the toad stammered, pointing toward the land of fire. How far is he from the advanced force? 1 hour. Kushina's scowl slowly morphed into a grin. She was furious, but there was no way she'd let the man who would have been Naruto's godfather and was Minato's old sensei die alone. Now, was that so hard? She said cheerfully. The toad dropped to the ground and quickly leapt away. Sakura gave her sensei a deadpan stare, while Kushina laughed and rubbed the back of her head. Sakura could already guess what Kushina was thinking. She just hoped she was ready. The first test of the Hiraishin had been a success. Her chakra was stable. Her injuries were mostly just scrapes and cuts, nothing serious. But she was hungry. Her stomach growled, prompting both Kushina and the toad to glance at her. Sorry? She muttered sheepishly. Kushina chuckled, then addressed the toad. We're bringing Jiraiya back. My kids are ready. She looked proudly at Sakura. Jiraiya's in for one hell of a surprise. Turning back to the toad, she added, "We'll need reinforcements too. Tell the others, especially Gamabunta, that we'll need oil and fire. A lot of it." With that, the messenger toad vanished in a puff of smoke. Kushina turned to Sakura. "I'll inform Kakashi, Kibai, and Hinata about the mission. Be ready to leave in 30 minutes. Sakura nodded. I have faith in you, Sakura. Now get something to eat, then armor up." Kushina shunshined, leaving Sakura standing alone on the grass. She looked out at the sea and sighed before turning toward the distant buildings. She was exhausted, sweaty, dirty, and starving, but the mission came first. She needed to eat before heading back to her room to gear up in Uzu's standard armor. As she approached a small ramen stall marked as one of Ichiraku Ramen's 2 branches on the island, Sakura rubbed her ears. A buzzing sound filled the air. The scent of hot soup, barbecued pork, cakes, and other foods drifted toward her. She took another step, then froze. "Sakura!" She turned, scanning the area. There were people at the ramen stall and nearby stalls. Some were in the 3-story buildings further away, but no one nearby could have called her name. "Sakura, it's me. Can you hear me? It's your inner." "I must be going crazy," Sakura muttered, shaking her head and turning toward the sushi shop. "Kurenai-sensei always said too much ramen was bad. Maybe I've had too much. Yeah, that's got to be it." "You aren't crazy, dummy," the voice yelled from deep within her mind. The force of the yell made Sakura clutch her ears and bend over. "Listen to me, I'm your inner. I've been with you since you were a child, ever since you were bullied at the academy. Do you remember?" "Oh no, of course you don't. That stupid hag changed reality. Hold on. I had to hide our memories of, our life before the whiteout. Hang on, I'm unlocking them." "What are you talking about?" Sakura shouted, realizing too late that she'd spoken aloud. People might think she was crazy. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm just too stressed. She hurried down a path between buildings toward Kushina's home, still trying to calm herself. Her stomach growled again. So she pivoted and rushed back toward the sushi shop. She was too hungry to ignore it. While she selected some hamachi rolls, tuna belly, edamame, and futomaki, she failed to notice a dark-haired boy in a dark blue shirt walking past with a pink-haired girl beside him. As she made her way to the cashier, she passed the blonde boy in a bright orange jacket. The jacket caught her attention first, then his face, those deep blue eyes, the 3 whisker marks on each cheek, the wide grin. Sakura stopped, turned, and watched him pass. Something about him. She blinked. She was no longer in the shop. She was on a bridge, watching the blonde run toward the dark-haired boy. Then her eyes locked on a girl in a red kipao dress who looked so much like her. Sakura's breathing quickened. Her hands trembled. She looked at the boy again. Something about his eyes. That smile. It tugged at something buried deep inside. "He's so familiar." She closed her eyes and shook her head. "Just stress, that's all. The war is coming. It's just stress." Then she opened her eyes. She was once again looking out at sea. She turned to the cashier and paid for her food. Sakura's mindscape. Inner Sakura stood before a massive metallic door, bound in chains with countless padlocks. She glanced at the keys in her hand and sighed. "When I sensed what that hag was about to do, just before the whiteout, after Obito killed Naruto as a baby, I collected every memory and locked them away. Only I could access them. It was a fail-safe, in case we ever lost our memories." She unlocked the 5th chain, letting it drop with a clang. Soon she'll remember everything, even what we learned about Naruto's past and his possible futures. 3 lives, Inner Sakura thought. Our original life in Konoha, the one we learned about Naruto, and this new one. I wonder how she'll handle it. She unlocked the sixth chain. I just want to go home. I want to say sorry to Naruto. I want. I don't know what I want, but I want to start by saying sorry. As she reached for the next lock, she whispered, "Let's find a way home, Outer." To be continued.